Yeah, we do. We're partying with you on this day of discovery.
Oof. Yeah.
Because the more this ticks on, the crazier it gets, and the more divided not only the internet, but these two humans are, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Yes, we know that we talk about them way too much, but it's not our fault.
It's really not.
No, because as we did the show yesterday, more things came out. Mm-hmm. And what was so weird about it is you think it's objective, right? It never is. So yesterday, Justin Baldoni's team dropped a bunch of video showing the unedited raw footage of some of the scenes that were mentioned in Blake's lawsuit. Mm-hmm. I was trying to remember if it was a claim.
Sexual harassment lawsuit. Yep.
Okay. And he thought this was the anti-smoking gun. Look at this footage of us getting along, of us, working together, laughing, talking about, at one point he's talking about his wife. They do this in public, very, like he said innocent.
Mm-hmm. Which, well, no, you keep going. You keep going.
So on the other side of it, we've got now Blake Lively's team coming out saying, thank God you posted this. This just proves our point. Mm-hmm. And the internet is also divided. And Kendall mentioned this yesterday. Just to scroll through those comments and you will see that people go, see, I told you, Team Blake. Oh my God, Team Justin, I can't believe we were right.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I would say there's probably more Team Justin in the comments. And I'm not talking about just one specific site. In all the gossip rags.
Yeah.
It skews that way more. Wouldn't you say so, Mike?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Definitely. And it also is interesting because you also have people who say, oh, wow, this behavior from him is disgusting. And then there's also people that are like, oh, clearly this shows that she was really into it. And she was actually, maybe did have some feelings. Maybe that's why we're having this huge discussion that we're having, because maybe she caught feelings for him and he didn't reciprocate.
Which is so fascinating to me. Not that any of the three of us think that, to be clear.
Yeah.
But that not a single comment says he caught feelings for her.
Correct.
It's always the woman must have caught feelings and got her feelings hurt.
And then score, nothing, Yeah.
Regardless of all the rest of it, I just found that specific piece to be very enlightening.
Yeah, not great
Not
moment.
great, no.
Yeah, I think it's funny. We've talked about this quite a bit, but like whatever you bring to your perspective is a lot of time is what is reflected that is happening. I think you could do studies on the way that people portray this footage. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think it's very funny that like literally Justin Baldoni's team was celebrating this footage and so was Blake Lively's.
But then we're like, was Blake Lively's team celebrating it? Because very shortly later, Blake Lively's team asked specifically for basically a what do you call it? I can't think what they call it.
Gag order.
Thank you. Like what's the word? The gag order against Justin Baldoni's attorney.
Yeah.
This is for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds specifically, so not just her. Okay, for both of them, they're saying because of harassing and retaliatory media campaign against Blake and Ryan. They're saying it's improper that the lawyer is putting out these footage out there. He said their team is saying that Justin Baldoni's lawyer could potentially be prejudicing a jury because of this, that this is sometimes irrelevant information to the case. Basically, like they want him to shut up and stop sending stuff out. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's team is saying like, no, you can't expect us to just sit by. Well, you say these terrible things about our client and not go, well, fine, here's the receipts. We're going to do it back to you. It's just like, it's laughable. You're like,
I know.
Oh my God. It's like a fight at summer camp.
Never been, but I hear.
Been to summer camp?
No.
Brittany, I lived at summer camp.
I know. I was so jealous of people that got to go to summer camp.
We went to YMCA camp every summer. It was not glamorous, but we went every summer. No. I did. My sisters did not enjoy and they did not go, but I went for 6 years.
I would have ran that place.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
I would have loved it.
I did get almost kicked out 1 year for getting in a fight at summer camp, but that's neither here nor there.
You punched a girl, right?
She had it coming. She was going to tell. Yeah. She was going to give a note that you wrote to the guy.
That I wrote it about.
Yeah.
She won't get out of the way. I made her get out of the way. I'm not proud of violence. Back to the story.
No, I think it's very interesting because it feels a little bit like I've kind of sided with this, and I would love to be, not love to be proven wrong, but I'm always open to be proven wrong. Keep that in mind.
Thank God, because it happens a lot.
Thank you. So slick.
She wants to use one finger, but we're filming this for YouTube, and so she has to keep all of her fingers to herself.
So I will say this, knowing that I have no problem that listen, history can prove me wrong. It's fine. But it does feel like this isn't a judicial situation is where I have landed. That the more I read about this, it doesn't feel like it's court business.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, and ultimately, I don't think it will ever be. I think we're going to get a settlement here long before this ever goes to that step.
Yeah.
But I think this most recent piece of footage is an exact example of why they're like, I don't know, do this gag order, because whoever released this footage and controlled the narrative was going to win this bout. And because he released the narrative, because he released the video and controlled the narrative of C, he now controls it. And they very clearly last week said, we don't want this to become a he said, she said in the public eye back and forth.
Yeah.
That being Blake Lively's people. And that's exactly what it's become.
1,000%. So who backs down first and who pays off who? Because they both think they are the most right.
Well, and his team is saying, listen, you've cost him at this point 3 jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars because of the things that you've said about our client. And
these are two people that run Hollywood.
Right. And in Justin Baldoni's team's case, you're like, okay, well, that must be true because they're going to have to prove that at some point because then that's the financial piece of this, right? Like the money that he's lost. But 2, you do go you can see why people lean that way when they watch these videos.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, yeah, well, this is the Hollywood it couple versus this guy that very few people had ever heard of. She's claiming a lot of things that are going to ruin his career.
Yeah.
And he's showing a video where it looks like they're just acting and they're having a conversation and he's pretending that he likes her. So why wouldn't he be trying to kiss her neck?
And the thing is, these videos, I will say this about them. They didn't make me feel any sort of way where I go, this is a snapshot of a snapshot of a snapshot. There are totally insidious things that could happen before, after, even that we don't see right next to the camera. So I didn't come to this conclusion watching these videos going, oh, my, everything's okay. They're actors. Even if they weren't okay, they're supposed to show up and act like they love each other, or
it's their job.
Yeah. And I mean, Blake Lively isn't known as the best actress, but she's good at it. And he's pretty good at it. So it's I would expect them to look lovey-dovey. I would expect them to have LOL moments or giggling in between scenes to keep that kind of vibe going. So I don't know if these videos at all make me think any sort of way, differently. I'm more going to a place of reading so much of the documents they both have put forward, the 170-page complaint. I didn't read all of it, but I read a lot of it. And going, yeah, I just can't really get to a place of here's that smoking gun moment. Here is that incident that would make me bring this to a place of lawyers. That being said, I kind of have a low bar in general for myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Full disclosure, I don't always know if I'm the best decider of that. So
it's wild. You do see Brendan Skellner. He was Atlas in the movie. He's all over the place in the sense of he's in a lot of new movies and a lot of big movies. He's attached to really big names. So you definitely see the side of Justin Baldoni's team when they say he's lost millions, because if this had not happened, if the PR around it hadn't happened the way that it had, if none of this had gone the way that it has, regardless of the legal side of it, he could have been doing really dang well after this. So that, I think they are going to be able to argue that in a court of law effectively enough if they come with enough receipts that say, listen, this is how much he's lost because of the things she said.
And it was very interesting. I had this thought as well yesterday. Remember when we had footage of Justin Baldoni and his family and friends kind of put down in the basement? Now, rewind back when we were watching all the premiere stuff and we said the whole cast and crew is siding with Blake Lively because they're walking down the red carpet with her. Little did we know there was no other option. Like,
oh, you're so, I didn't even think about that.
Because we had this hard front of like, well, we kind of feel like we would lean towards her since they're not even taking photos with him. The guy was locked in a basement at the time. Like, there was no cardboard cutout available.
Cinderella up in here.
Or Tangled. He's Rapunzel reversed to a basement. Like, so it's kind of funny. It's like you kind of have to like check what your preconceived notions are around this because there was just a lot of weird stuff that happened. And at the time, they both were trying to not bring this stuff forward. And it was like, this is the way we're going to avoid talking to each other, is we're going to separate them completely and hope that we don't get to this point. But then a real reason why we ended up getting Blake Lively speaking out is because of the huge backlash that came to her because of her own things she decided.
Yeah, her own marketing, basically, of her own companies. One person that really got behind her right off the jump was, and maybe not really, but who did get behind her off the jump was Colleen Hoover.
Yeah, the author.
Who wrote the book that this movie is based on. She has deactivated her Instagram account. She does not want to be involved in this at all. If it's her or her people that are like, yeah, we're just going to like step aside for this one. We know you said your piece right off the jump, but we're going to take that back because you can keep what you said, but we're going to just step away because we are losing. We could, if you take the wrong side or say the wrong thing, Colleen Hoover, we could lose film deals. We could lose the millions of dollars in revenue her books come with. And I'll think of like just the publishing houses associated with her at this point. A lot of people's money tied up in this woman.
And of course, like Kendall's like, I'm looking at the bottom dollar.
Always.
On the other side of the coin, think about how frustrating it would be to be an author who wrote something with such a clear point of view, conveying such like a very important message. And that message is absolutely lost in all of this. So it's like, if I was the author right now, I'd be pissed off. Like,
livid.
I trusted you two people to carry this message out, and that message is lost. It's gone.
And we already know the next Colleen Hoover book that's going to be turned into a movie. The Verity is going to be the next one. And then we've got Anne Hathaway tied to it. Dakota Johnson recently was added on to that one as well. So there's another huge project in the works that could very much be negatively affected if she's associated with one side and that side ends up being the losing side of this.
Yeah. But like Kendall said, it did feel like she came out early on Blake's side.
And so did Brandon Skellner. We would have to say that as well. Because again, you mentioned that, they kind of were forced to walk the red carpet with her. He did come out. It was about a month ago. Now, he hasn't said a word since.
Yeah.
And this was immediately when the first kind of lawsuit, the first thing came out. And this is before we saw any sort of response from Justin's side of things. But Brandon Skellner was the first person on Blake's side.
And the woman, I can't remember her name, the actress's name, but she played Justin Baldoni's sister.
Oh, yeah.
She also came out in support of Blake. So there is that side, which immediately made all of us go, oh. But then you look at it with your tinfoil hat and you go, well, were they really ever going to take his side when she's got the power?
Yeah.
The dynamics are all over the place.
It'll be interesting. I mean, we're going to keep getting stuff. And Mike, I hope you're right. Like, in the part of me that loves the drama, I think, keep giving us stuff. Keep feeding us. We're little baby birds.
Please.
But the part of me that's like, hey, guys, this literally has nothing to do with us. And like the common sense part of my brain goes, I think you can figure this out on your own time. Like, there is nothing to be gained by pushing these narratives on us and like giving us scraps and all this stuff. I'm like, nobody's going to win in this except us. I mean,
I wouldn't be shocked if this was a very anticlimactic ending because they eventually sit down and realize this is only making us both look terrible.
Yeah.
We need this to stop now. Let's just be done with it.
Yeah.
And then something happens behind the scenes to make sure both sides say, okay, we're done with it.
I wonder, I've been trying to rack my brain with something similar that has happened in recent history, like pop culture wise. I can't really think of something that where it was he said, she said, that they then both kind of had to disappear.
Well, I think the closest we've gotten that's relatively close, and I'm not trying to diminish things,
No,
but Amber Heard
Johnny Depp.
and Johnny Depp was at least a moment where you went, yeah, nobody's going to walk away like a winner after all the things that came out and you can't unhear. You go, I'm sorry, you smeared feces on what?
Right.
Like,
y'all crazy.
We haven't seen the end of this one, but Drake and Kendrick Lamar right now.
yeah.
I mean, they both said a lot of things when they had their little beef. Now, granted, it's a rap battle. You know, how much of that is real, how much is fabricated based on the lawsuits he's now putting against his own label, that being Drake. I think it was pretty real. So I think that might be another situation that plays out similar to this.
It's hard too, because we walk this line of like, I fight the urge to go, Blake or Justin, like, who is making a mockery of like actual sexual assault? I'm not saying this isn't one, but a part of me has that moment of going, harassment. Thank you, not assault. Thank you. Because there are things that like are human, and then there are things that are actual harassment. And like, I do think that there's moments where I read this and I go, yeah, no, that was just like a human hiring his friend to do like a side like character in this movie. Like, this is not a malicious attack on you.
It's wild. The whole thing. It's wild.
On a way more exciting note,
This is fun.
listen,
this is juicy.
This is our comeback girl. We love to see her winning. Demi Moore. Is there a possibility where Demi Moore is not only going to bring home the Oscar, but gets to bring home that little Andrew Garfield as well? Put him right next to that Oscar on her fireplace.
Okay, I'll give this one to you more than I will give you Fast and the Furious bromance of Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Time will tell.
There is no romance there.
Only time will tell.
This one, though, comes with a lot of receipts, which is interesting to me. Because I thought he was into that lady with the chicken.
Oh, no, that was never going to happen.
Chicken fry? Or no, not chicken
not
fry.
chicken fry. Chicken date.
Chicken date.
Chicken shop date.
Chicken
Thank
shop.
you.
Amelia. I forget her last name.
Yes.
No, it was hot and heavy, but I think we wanted it more than they did.
It got down to the nitty gritty, and they were like,
And then-
nah, we're gonna keep our pants on.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So okay, so why do people think that Demi and Andrew Garfield are together?
Well, okay. There's like little moments here and there, but one of it is he kissed her hand as she walked up to the microphone to accept the award at the Golden Globes. There was like an interaction they had that was very sweet. Demi Moore, as me and Mike were talking before, isn't one to shy away from I always say these wrong, June, September, whatever, the relationships, a younger man.
Yes.
Oh, I have never heard this expression.
Have you ever, it's like, okay, well, somebody's dying right now going, it's a September, June. They made a whole movie about it.
What in the hell? A younger man? Is that
yes.
what we're saying? Okay.
They have been spotted, possibly spotted. There's like, a real
Insiders
are saying that they've gone to lunch together. So, and I love them as a couple.
I mean, it's cute. Mike, did you figure out what the saying is?
I think it's September, June. I think you nailed it. Oh, May, September romance?
May, September, yep.
May, September romance
Yeah.
about age gaps.
Yeah.
There you
I've
go.
literally never heard this.
I haven't either, but
You guys, there was a movie made of it like a year ago.
oh, that's why I didn't know what that was for. I knew May, September was a movie. But
Yeah, that was based on that teacher who,
with her student.
yes. And
That's
well, that's
what
May,
it's called.
December, I thought it was called.
okay, well,
I don't know.
Guys, the months of the year, baby. Okay.
that's the problem is I can never remember it because I
It was
just
May, December.
Thank you. Well, that's a May December relationship.
Okay.
It's like the time that I said, well, it doesn't affect the tea in China. And Kendall was like, what did you say?
Oh, no. I got the tea in China. It's the one with the butterfly effect.
Oh, a butterfly flaps
I
its
was
wings
like,
in China.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
And then and I went, oh, that's what that's from?
Am I a million years old? I do hang out with a lot of old men.
Yeah, and I would say he loves his relationships. He has been tied to lots of people he's worked with in the past. He's been
Mm-hmm.
tied to always celebrity big names, and then there was that witch, Dr. Kate, that he was with too. So he's not afraid of a publicationship. So I could see that working in both of their favors.
I do like that one of these blinds is that he's staying at her house in Sun Valley, Idaho.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sorry. Who are you that you know that Andrew Garfield is staying at Demi Moore's house?
That
How
would-
creepy are you going to be? And this isn't it like in LA. It's in Idaho.
That might be a big give. Like, that might be a big tell.
Yeah, that's out in Sun Valley, Idaho. Like, did you drive him there? Were you the Uber?
Less speculation. I have something a little bit more concrete. If you go to ladygaga.com, you're going to find a countdown. And if you push underneath the countdown and kind of wipe things away, it says LG3. The countdown is currently at 4 days, 18 hours, 37 minutes, and 42 seconds. Are we counting down to an album, my friends?
I would think so.
At the least, an announcement of an announcement where we're going to get the album name and maybe the release date. Because I don't know if it's going to be officially released at that point, but we'll have to see.
Maybe she's counting down her statement for the Razzies nomination.
Oh, for the Joker?
Just kidding. Sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if she got nominated.
She did.
She did.
I know the Joker did.
Nope, she did.
Oh, good. Congrats.
She was up for a worst actress on the Razzies. But I am so excited for this album because if it is any indication of what this album's going to be like is the song Disease. That is the best Gaga song that's been released in a very long time.
Yeah.
I love Disease.
Do you have it on?
We can't play it over the YouTubes.
Hey, by the way, if you
Check us out on
know what
YouTube.
we're talking about, we are recording this for YouTube. Like and subscribe. Sorry, we can't play the song for you. I mean, I do like that song. It reminds me a little bit of like the Poker Face era.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks
So
like
good.
as the days click off, as we get closer, like right now when you erase it, it says LG3. That's because that was her third album. And then the next one's going to say LJ4, and it's going to be styled leading up to LG7, which is this is her seventh album. So the rumors are that's the name of that album.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Big deal coming out of the UK right now. We told you yesterday that Prince Harry did not go to court the first day of his what is now a giant victory in a case against Rupert Murdoch. He, of course, owns the News Group newspapers. A lot of them News of the World that we used to read all the time back in the 90s. That isn't even around anymore because how mismanaged things were back there. Either way, this case was all about how Harry and over 1,000 other people have said in the past that this specific newspaper had gone against them, had like spied on them, read emails, harassed them, etc., like gone above and beyond what you were supposed to do to make them look bad. The first day was yesterday. Today, already, there's been a settlement. So Rupert Murdoch's UK tabloids made a, quote, unprecedented apology for intruding on Harry's life for years and agreed to pay substantial damages to settle his privacy invasion lawsuit. So they acknowledged private investigators and journalists targeted Harry with phone hacking, surveillance, and misuse of private information. The company offered him a full and unequivocal apology for intrusion by the now defunct News of the World and The Sun. Basically, it also said that they apologized for everything that they'd done with Princess Diana and the impacts that it had had on his family. Like the scope of what they were doing had affected him from such a young age and her life. They said, quote, we acknowledge and apologize for the distress caused to the Duke and the damage inflicted on relationships, friendships, and family, and have agreed to pay him substantial damages.
Dang.
That's huge. And you know that means millions and millions of dollars. If they actually, Harry's team obviously had enough receipts out there and knew that Rupert Murdoch's company said, they got enough. We're just going to, like, we do not want this getting out. We're going to pay him out.
Congrats, Harry.
Congrats.
If you want to come on the show, we'll let you.
Please. I'll even watch Polo again.
She will. She'll even give it a fake good review.
I'll try.